and you've got to make sure you improve the student experience. Sorry.
Okay, we'd like to go on to one more question from Mark.
Hello, yeah, Steve. I'd like to ask a question about the tuition fees increase. According to economic experts and myself personally, I personally believe that the increase in tuition fees will actually increase the UK deficit, not save it at all. I'd like to know what your thoughts are about that, because I mean, the way the current repayment system works is that a majority of students going to university probably won't pay it back within their lifetime.
Right.
So therefore, I personally think it will increase the deficit.
Good question. We come back to that ridiculous rule of accounting. It won't. What they're doing is they're taking out cash that they currently spend to universities. They're loaning it to students. Students won't pay all of it, you're absolutely right. But because the way the national accounts work, it counts as long-term national debt, not in-year borrowing requirement of the government. It's the borrowing requirement that the 81 billion of public sector cuts the government has decided are to get down, not the long-term national debt. So you can argue it different ways, but for this government, its priority is how much it borrows each year. Just final comment, if you actually do the numbers, I think it doesn't save much in the long run. I think it's an open question. It does, however, save 3 billion in the short term a year.
The short-term recovery plan is ridiculous.
Well, it's off the baseline, it's off forever. 3 billion goes from universities forever.
Okay, we'd like to have the last question.
Okay.
Yeah, so you said that you participated in student associations when
Yes.
you were an undergraduate yourself, which is good to hear. As speaking and thinking about the wider community and being here as a representative, if you like, of the wider community of Exeter, thinking about the cuts that are coming elsewhere, the cuts and the other things that are happening, the secondary schools in Exeter going for academy status, cuts to the NHS that are coming up, cuts to Devon County Council, to the police, across the board. Somebody used the phrase that this is shock and awe. This is the government using shock and awe tactics on the people of this country, trying to cow us into submission by hitting us with all kinds of cuts, quickly, one after each other, so that we say, yeah, okay, we just kind of roll over and say, get on with it. So, as somebody who used to be a student activist, what would be your advice, or what would you support? Would you support non-violent direct action by students in Exeter and others in Exeter against such cuts?
Two main comments. Firstly, I absolutely support non-violent action. I was very pleased indeed to see 52,500 students on the streets protesting in November against the cuts. I think, we can all have a debate. I think there comes, and I think many of you would accept, there's a very quick point at which anything other than that becomes very counterproductive, and I've seen the hardening of attitudes in the last few weeks, and you'll understand that completely. So I'm very supportive of and pleased to see that students are taking such an interest in their work. I mean, after all, students who are coming to university will be affected, but students at the university at the moment, it's not about them, and yet they're doing it because they care. And I've said that. I mean, I was asked on Thursday on Radio 5 and on BBC Television to criticise the demonstrators in live interviews, and I said I wouldn't. I would criticise people, the violence. I mean, you can argue that both ways, but the vast majority of people there were there because they cared deeply, and I absolutely support that. The one thing I would say, and again, I'm not trying to court popularity, but I'm trying to explain a problem that I am worried about. If you look at public spending, the paradox is it actually increases under the broadest definition of public spending in 4 years' time. There's cuts to public services, no question, massive cuts. But of course it's interest payments. Interest payments suddenly become, I think, 63 billion within 4 years on the national debt. And there is whatever your or my personal take, there's a genuine issue. I wouldn't be reducing the deficit at this speed. There's other ways of dealing with it. But equally, again, I just don't want you to think that I'm not just